On the icy plains of Antarctica, a small penguin named Pebble was busy preparing for a journey. Pebble was no ordinary penguin. He was adventurous, determined, and slightly different from the rest of his colony. While most penguins were content to waddle around their familiar icebergs, Pebble had an inexplicable urge to travel and explore. One frosty morning, as the golden sun peeked over the horizon, Pebble felt a stir inside his heart. He knew it was time to embark on an adventure, not to discover new lands, but to find his way back home after being swept away by the sea during a storm. He remembered the comforting scent of his home colony, the sound of his family's raucous calls, and the warm huddle of his friends. With this memory as his guiding star, Pebble took a deep breath and set out on his journey. The beginning of his trip was defined by the gentle sway of the ocean. Pebble paddled tirelessly against the current, his flippers working in a determined rhythm. He avoided the dangerous cliffs where the seals prowled and navigated through the icebergs that bobbed like floating castles. Days turned into nights, and Pebble rested only on small chunks of ice, always keeping an eye out for the familiar shape of his home icebergs. As Pebble ventured further, he encountered a wise old albatross perched on an icy ledge. The albatross, noticing Pebble's weary demeanor, struck up a conversation. "Where do you wander, little penguin?" His voice boomed over the wind. "I'm trying to find my way back home," Pebble replied, his tiny voice trembling with hope. "Home is where the heart is," said the albatross thoughtfully. "But sometimes, the journey back requires not just the heart, but a bit of guidance." With that, the albatross offered to guide Pebble for part of the way. Together, they traveled across the skies and icy seas, with the albatross soaring above and Pebble paddling below. The friendship they forged was a source of comfort to Pebble. Pebble was beginning to feel the weight of loneliness lift. When it was time to part ways, the albatross gave Pebble a knowing nod and said, "Just follow the stars, my friend. They will lead you home." Guided by the cascade of twinkling stars overhead, Pebble continued his journey. Eventually, he began to notice familiar landmarks, a unique ice peak shaped like a crown, and a curious iceberg he remembered playing on as a chick. With renewed energy, Pebble surged forward until at last, he heard the chorus of familiar penguin calls echoing through the ice. Tears of joy brimmed in his eyes as he finally spotted his colony, a shimmering mass of black and white figures against the blinding snow. Reunited with his family and friends, Pebble's heart swelled with happiness. Despite the long and arduous journey that had tested his courage and resolve, he had made it back home. His adventure had taught him not just the importance of perseverance, but also the value of friendship and the simple joy of returning to the place you belong. For Pebble, every view was as familiar as coming home, and every face warmed him from the inside out. He realized home was not just a place, but a feeling, a sense of belonging, a realm forged by the connections he held dear. In the heart of the icy Antarctic, Pebble's journey wasn't just to return to a geographic location, but to find his way back to where his heart truly belonged.